Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive cultural shift, what many are calling the end of Christendom. So, what does that actually mean for the future of Christian faith in the West? Let's get into it.
Yeah, this quote really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It feels like there's been this dramatic reversal in how Christianity is seen in our culture. So, the big question is, what does it mean to be a Christian in what some are now calling a post-Christendom world?
All right, first up, a radically changed world. To really get a handle on this, we first have to define what's actually changed. The ground has shifted under our feet.
So what exactly was Christendom? Well, according to author David Riedfeld, it's super important to understand it wasn't a Christian government or a theocracy. Think of it more like a shared cultural atmosphere, a time when society's basic assumptions, its values, were all kind of rooted in a Judeo-Christian worldview.
And what's replacing it? A post-Christian worldview. You can see the big difference right away. Instead of a shared authority, the focus snaps to the individual. The new core beliefs are all about self-expression, personal freedom, and this idea that truth itself is subjective.
Okay, Section 2, Christendom versus Christianity. This brings us to a really fascinating question. Is the end of this cultural Christendom the same thing as the end of Christianity? Well, the sources we're looking at argue pretty strongly that it's not.
You see, this old worldview is described as a kind of cultural Christianity, something held by the average Joe. It was a general belief in God, an idea that the Bible had some wisdom in it, but it wasn't necessarily a deep, transformative, personal faith.
And this chart just illustrates that difference perfectly. You can see the contrast all the way down, but look at that last row. For average Joe, church was there to reinforce cultural values. For Christian Chris, it's about worship, discipleship, and mission. Those are two very, very different things.
And boom, here's the key insight from the source material. The decline of this cultural worldview. Well, it isn't a mass exodus from actual faith. The argument is that many who are leaving may never have been Christian in a biblical sense in the first place.
So moving on to Section 3, redefining the E word. This cultural shift, going from a majority to a minority, forces a complete rethink of one of Christianity's most loaded and, let's be honest, uncomfortable terms, evangelism. So why has evangelism become such a difficult word? Well, according to the sources, the E word kind of earned its bad reputation. A long history of confrontational styles, maybe some harmful practices. It left a lot of people both inside and outside the church feeling pretty weird about it. And these critiques start to show us why. Evangelism often got boiled down to a formula, a simple transaction. Just get someone to say a prayer, make a decision. As one source calls it, it became little more than a gospel of sin management. The solution, then, is a pretty huge shift in focus. It's about moving away from a story that's just about my personal salvation to the much, much bigger story of the gospel of the kingdom, God's plan to renew all of creation.
And this gives us a totally new definition, holistic evangelism. It's not a sales pitch. It's an invitation into a community that demonstrates the good news through how it lives, how it serves, and, only when necessary, its words.
And that leads us right into Section 4. The community is the message. Because if evangelism is an invitation into a community, then the community itself becomes the most powerful message. The method isn't some technique, it's the life of the group.
Theologian Leslie Newbigin put it perfectly. He said, the best explanation of the gospel is a community that actually lives it. This completely changes the focus from what Christians do for other people to who they are for other people.
So what does that mean? It means evangelism stops being a special program for a handful of people. Instead, it gets woven into the very fabric of the church's life, where the entire community becomes the witness.
This chart shows what that could look like. You've got preaching, worship, community, service. They're not separate departments. They are all expressions of the church's witness, what the source calls martyria. It's a completely holistic approach. Witness isn't a slice of the pie, it's the whole pie.
This slide just sums up that entire shift. We're moving from programs run by a few specialists to a way of life embodied by everyone. It's this idea that your words and your actions have to go together, because, as it says here, the word without the deed is empty. Okay, on to our final section, a new posture for a new era. So, what does all this actually look like in practice? How should a community of faith carry itself in this strange new world? Well, the entire posture changes. It moves away from confrontation and toward invitation.
It puts a huge premium on hospitality and on just living an authentic life that's compelling on its own, not because it's trying to sell you something.
And the practical recommendations that come out of this are, well, they're pretty radical. Things like giving up the quest for political influence, embracing the role of a minority subculture, and completely rethinking how to talk about the gospel for a world that no longer shares its basic assumptions.
And this completely flips the script on what success even means. It's no longer measured by numbers or conversions or how many people show up. Success is redefined simply as faithfulness. Faithfulness in offering that clear and loving invitation. The response? Well, that's out of your hands.
And that leads to this really profound insight. It frees communities from this crushing pressure to produce results, because it recognizes that so many factors are just outside of our control. The focus can shift back to the integrity of the witness itself.
And that brings us to our final lingering question. In a world that's so skeptical of big institutions and power plays, could it be that the most compelling witness isn't a power story at all, but a love story? In this post-Christendom world, maybe the greatest opportunity is to finally abandon the quest for power and instead just live out a better story, a story of love, service, and genuine community.